Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CSPI podcast. I'm here with James Grugett and Stephen Grugett. They're the founders of Manifold Markets. As many of you know, Markets is now in partnership with us, the Salem Center and CSPI, to have a forecasting tournament that's going to end in the summer of 2023. Guys, thanks for joining us. Stephen, James, how did you guys? I bet you guys in Austin, you guys were. I think you guys came to my event down there. Just how did you guys, become, prediction market founders? What's your background?
Yeah, so we've all been interested in prediction markets for a very long time. In fact, some of the first real dollars that I ever earned were from writing a Python script to arbitrage InTrade, which was an early prediction market platform running about 10 years ago. But the specific idea for Manifold came when we two, along with our third co-founder, Austin Chen, were trying to think of a startup idea which would be good enough to get a grant from Scott Alexander, the blogger, who was
Mhm.
hosting a competition at the time. And prediction markets have always been, perpetually one of the things that we were thinking about. But we thought that we had come up with a unique enough twist to actually make something interesting and worthwhile. And that twist was to allow people to create their own prediction markets, and more controversially, to resolve them themselves. So it's the last step that kind of differentiates us from previous attempts. So the idea is that you would create users would be able to pose their own sorts of questions like, will Biden win in 2024? And that they themselves would be able to be the judge to that question. So that obviously introduces the possibility of fraud, but it also, and more importantly, just solves the scaling problem. It makes it such that anyone can come on and create a question on any topic that they're interested in, and have at least a clear mechanism of resolution, which is what the resolver thinks. Um,
Yeah. And what were you guys, what kind of job did you have before you were working on prediction markets?
we were each doing different things, and I guess James and I were previously working on our last startup called Throne, which is a subscription group chat app for online creators. So the
Mm.
thinking there was that if you're a podcaster, or a DJ or someone with an audience, you could create a private subscription chat room, charge your fans to join, and then behind the scenes, and the technical secret sauce that made our platform really good was that it was designed to work really well for large numbers of simultaneous participants chatting all at once.
Yeah.
Our
So that was our last startup.
Yeah.
And we both have backgrounds. We're both computer science majors. Steven went to Yale. I went to Carnegie Mellon. And then I worked at Google post-college. And since then, we've just been, founding companies. So.
Yeah.
And our third co-founder, Austin, who's not here right now, is also an entrepreneur. He's known for creating a word game which went minorly viral during the pandemic. It's called One Word, which you can Google for yourself.
Okay. I thought you were gonna tell me it was Wordle because that's the only one that I know that went viral. So it didn't go that viral because it's a
Not
word game.
Wordle viral, but still a little viral.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so what is the problem that your manifold market? Okay, it's sort of cool. You can make your own markets, you can solve them, you can have your friends play. What's the problem in the world that this startup solves?
So the lofty goal of prediction markets in general is basically to like shine the light of truth on controversial or difficult questions, which it's otherwise difficult to get a good answer to. So a good example of this might be a question like in February of like whether Russia will invade Ukraine. A lot of pundits were saying that that was impossible, but a lot of people with analysts who specialize in the field were saying that this is a real possibility. We should consider this. Prediction markets are one way of coming up with a good and well calibrated answer to these types of questions. They allow both experts and random people who are interested in the topic and other people who have strong beliefs or who have researched this to come together in a marketplace and express their beliefs monetarily, i.e., put up money behind the things that they believe. And the resulting probability actually turns out to be a pretty good indicator of what's likely to be true. And it just cuts through all of these other many problems that other social mechanisms for arriving at truth have.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And so the the point is, incentives. The point is to incentivize people to say what they're going to think, and then have some kind of responsibility for that. With some kind of outcome that they care about that's tied to them being right. So that's what a prediction. That's what a betting market is, right? You could have prestige markets. You can imagine. Well, what's the currency? You guys give out manifold bucks. Well, how does your market incentivize people to get the right answer?
Right. So right now, Manifold uses mana or Manifold dollars, which is our internal, play currency. And the reason why play money prediction markets can work is that people value the currency, and they value it for several reasons. I guess one like obvious answer is that you need Manifold dollars if you want to create a question or pose a question to the marketplace. That, in some sense, provides some grounding for the currency because it's the thing that you need to pose the questions. But on a more fundamental level, people care about it because they care about social prestige and showing off to their peers that they're good at predicting things. And if you have one nice feature about our platform and prediction markets in general is that you can build up an objective track record of your bets over time, which demonstrate objectively that you know what you're doing or don't know what you're doing.
Another way that it's valuable is you can actually donate directly to charity with your profits. So it is possible to, be correct and keep betting correctly, win money, and then donate to your favorite charity.
Yeah, full disclosure. Somebody told me that CSPI is one of the charities, and we've made like 40 cents or something from people donating. So yeah, you can go to win. So how does this work as a how does that work as a business? So these mana you invent them, and then you turn them into real money and give them to charities. Like what is the business model there?
Yeah. I mean, so we sell Manifold dollars directly. It's just like
That's true,
an
right?
in-game, it's like one of those apps where you can just buy the currency. But yeah, you can't get it out for yourself, but you can give it to charity.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's
So this is interesting. So I can do yeah. So someone could potentially buy $1 million US dollars, whatever the equivalent in mana is. It tied to the US dollar? Is the conversion rate one?
It's a
that's
hundred to one.
Okay. See, they would put 100,000. They put $1 million, and they'd get 100 million in mana. And then they would have their friends play something. They could have their own, they could have their own markets. You can exclude people from markets too. No, I mean this, right? You can have some that only your friends can play with. You guys have that feature?
Right now, we're public only. We actually are planning to launch private markets and private groups sometime soon. Yeah, but right now we're a purely open and public platform.
Yeah. Okay. So if I make a question, I can't restrict anyone can play who finds the link, right?
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So people can buy it, they can win it, they can win other people's things, and then they can give them to charity, and then they could say, I gave all this charity, and then there's some, mix between the mana they paid for and the mana they won. That's sort of so that's interesting. I mean, the ultimate. I mean, do you have a sort of, you know, ultimate vision of what it looks like? How you guys make money? What is it used for? What do people refer to manifold markets for? Or is it more of a open thing where you're creating something and the giving people freedom and something can things can build themselves? Well, what's sort of the vision?
Well, I would say the long-term vision is really to make prediction markets ubiquitous. We really want to live in a world where like every like blog, Substack, news show has like an embedded manifold market on whatever topic of importance people are discussing, and that kind of grounds the discussion. And part of the goal of our platform in particular is that we're trying to do everything we can to make it as easy to use, so we can get as many people on board and interested in prediction markets as possible.
Yeah, so making it like simple, like play money, our own currency, reduces barriers because when people join, we can immediately give them some currency to start playing with. But I think the broader vision is really that when it scales up and there's like this like ecosystems where like people are creating markets on everything, and they're if these markets are being shown in important places, then it's actually important, the forecast that they're giving, and that almost brings some value directly. It makes people care about the result of those markets, if they're like in New York Times like articles, right? So that's when it starts being quite valuable. The currency becomes valuable in a sense because it changes our perception of what's happening. I would say that at that end goal, we kind of can get around all of the regulation where you can't cash out because we've sort of given value to the currency itself, and it could be just as accurate as a regular prediction market.
I see. So this is a radical vision. I was thinking this was a prediction market. This is a new currency. This is a new
It's like
currency of prestige.
those like virtual worlds, like Second Life or whatever. They have their own currency, right? And so they kind of regulate it however they want. It's like a way they can get around the government, like telling you what to
Yeah.
do.
Well,
So
why
this
not
is kind
just
of
yeah. Well, why not try to just so there's a little bit of this now, and that if you go to like Nate Silver will sometime or somebody will say predicted now says that Trump is going to be the nominee with this predicted is getting shut down apparently by the feds, but they would use
yes.
predicted or some people use election betting odds that aggregates a bunch of different websites and including predicted and other things. So this exists to certain. It's not that New York Times wouldn't cite it like they cite a poll, but smart people on Twitter will cite that as sort of the best guess of what's going to happen in an election or whatever. Um, and there's a like Scott Alexander, I think had an article. I think it was he called it the cube, and he just talked about like all these markets. You want different things, and some of them have one thing, money, and some of them have the other thing. And I think what's really cool about your guys is it's the most intuitive, easy thing I've seen to bet on a market, to start your own market. I mean, that's predicted success. I've seen like markets and foreign markets and domestic ones where it's so important. It's so important to have this to have the user friendly experience. I mean, you're not going to make betting markets the most mainstream thing in the world if it's not a easy user experience like going to YouTube or something is. And you guys have got that down. Do you think? Do you see it as like? I mean, how about like corporations? They want to, are there other way? We've made Salem bucks. So is creating other currencies part of, as a general matter, part of the long term vision, letting corporations, communities, whatever, have their own markets, have their own prestige markers?
That is one thing that we're considering, and one potential path that we could go down as well. Um, we're trying to, one question that we have as a startup is whether, whether to, go further down the corporate internal organizational market route or to focus more on our like public open platform.
Yeah.
You know,
Are
and
those two things? Is that just opportunity cost in terms of time, or are those, is there a more fundamental contradiction between those two?
Mostly it's just an opportunity cost in terms of time, but partially if you silo away like your users from one another in different instances of the Manifold platform, you're missing out on cross promotion and potential growth that you could otherwise have.
Yeah.
So
Have
yeah,
you?
right now it's like a consumer product, but we could be pushing towards like the corporate side, like where we do like basically come into companies, create prediction markets for them. There's a lot of like history of this being tried, and it's kind of interesting to think about why those have mostly failed. And I think we might have the secret sauce to make them finally work because we've concentrated so much on making an easy user experience. So
Yeah.
that's certainly that's one part of it. The way that markets are resolved is like another kind of unique idea that removes friction. So I think that it could be possible. But yeah, we've chosen to focus on the consumer side because it has the potential for like really explosive growth. And for a startup, that's very attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The people like Tetlock has so there's other sort of applications besides corporate. You could have government. Like there's been talk of governments. Didn't the British government have something like this? They had this, and it's still going, right? I read about it recently.
Yes. I believe the organization that Inkling Markets turned into is currently doing something with the British government.
Yeah.
Their current name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah, there
Um,
was an Economist article about it like a year or two ago. Um, so governments, presumably, you would want to, they'd want to know what's going to happen. I mean, do you know if the has the British government? I mean, have they done anything that we know of with this? I mean, they were supposed to, or has any other government? I mean, do you know of any
well,
other governments?
DARPA has funded and used prediction markets. I believe they were famously shut down after
Yeah,
someone was hauled in front of Congress and asked why people were betting on terrorist attacks.
yeah, yeah. So this is a problem, and this was this was in the post 9/11 era where the people were very much more sensitive, right. And have they done it? I mean, that was a long time ago. That was like 10 or 15 years ago, right? Do they
Yeah.
has anything happened recently on that front?
I don't believe so. It's possible that some smaller group may have attempted it since then, but I don't think there has been any large attempt at using prediction markets governmental in the U.S. since.
Yeah. And there is also, I mean, another potential is academia. I mean, have you thought about like you could potentially have a university department that just selects scholars based on prediction markets? Is that something you guys have thought of?
So that is an interesting idea that we've considered but haven't done that much with. Some other academics have found an interesting uses for our platform today. One thing we have multiple groups working on trying to set up replication markets on whether various scientific papers would replicate.
I've seen this on Twitter. This was through you guys, so people are doing the through Manifold Markets.
Yes, yeah. One group is research.bet, which you can type into your browser.
Yeah.
There are a group of academics doing this, and the other is Spencer Greenberg doing the replication project. And both of these groups of
Oh,
people have markets on whether various scientific papers will replicate, which is a fantastic use for
Or be
prediction markets.
retracted. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny. And how many people are how many people are on this? Are there a lot of people using this? It seems like there's 480. Is this the same currency as Manifold or Mana, or do they have a
yes.
different? They have the Manifold currency. I see. So okay. So this is interesting. Do you worry that I mean, with having the consumer product and having one currency, it's hard to sort of it's translate between things, right? If you have like a prediction market for like, I don't know, the Kardashians or something and what they're going to do, and you win a bunch of, mana, and then you go and you use it on this thing and then you use it on something else. And, you're indistinguishable for somebody who just bought their own mana, right? You could just buy as much as you want. Is this a problem with sort of how transferable it all is?
Well, I would say like one of the things you care about are what you care about when you're like trying to judge the performance of different traders in this market is just like how they do in the markets that you care about.
Yeah.
So one trader may be the best trader in the Kim Kardashian market, but the one that you care about are like research.bets markets on scientific papers. But we do have a feature showing you the leaderboard for a particular group of markets that you care about. So I would say that probably is one way to solve the problem.
Hmm. So is there a leaderboard for this bet thing? This research.bet? Let me see.
Yeah, there should be, yeah, within their group.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
somewhere there. Okay, cool. And has this been the yeah, I mean, one thing I love about this too is, and we're doing this with the Salem tournament, is you can also get a lot of research data, right? So you can see, how calibrated, how good are the researchers after the fact, not just individual researchers, but the research community as a whole, or at least the people betting on this stuff. And if they are biased in one direction or another, it's interesting to know, which how and why, right? There's there are different levels of what you're doing here, what prediction markets can do, right? They can identify the wheat from the chaff, the good people who know what they're doing from the bad people. They can expose systemic bias, systematic biases that we all share, or that certain groups of people share and not others. You can look at population, different demographics, different people of different views and outlooks and personalities, and anything you can imagine. Do you think about sort of this as not just a way to get a probability of who's going to win the next election or whatever, but just sort of a deeper understanding of sort of human knowledge and what it gets right and where it goes wrong?
Right. I think there are all sorts of applications of prediction markets besides the one that you mentioned as well. Prediction markets can be used to make decisions. There's this concept of a conditional market, which is conditioned on taking some particular action, like whether some event will hold, and you can actually use that structure to help you determine whether you or like the government should take some particular policy action. So like the Fed, for instance, could say like if we raise rates at our next meeting, will end GDP growth be above 4% or something like that to make decisions. That's one use case. Another really interesting
And to stick on that, the cool thing about that is it can literally tell you what policy to do. You could say if you raise taxes by this much, will GDP be higher or lower? And then you could say if they don't, raise taxes or pass stimulus or whatever. Yeah, do you guys have conditional? Well, anyone can make any market, right? So you can make a conditional market. How does it work if what happens when there's a how does it settle when the condition doesn't occur? How is it supposed to settle, right? The person is
so you resolve it NA, which will just like return traders money. So if the condition doesn't hold, you just you bust all the trades and return everyone's money.
Although
and
somebody
it's as if it never happened.
Yeah. Do you undo everything because the somebody could have made a profit? Is that okay?
Yes.
If someone went from 20 to 70,
we undo the profits as well. It really is.
What if it's gone into other markets and they have and somehow they don't have the money?
Then their balance will go negative.
Their balance. Okay, they'll owe you mana. Okay, yeah, they'll have to pay you to get back on the system or something. Okay, interesting. Okay, okay. So you have these, and have you guys thought about making a? Okay, but how do people know which one to pay attention to? So if you go to, has there emerged in Manifold Markets? Actually, go ahead. Let me let you finish, Stephen, because you were talking about other applications before I cut in about the conditional market. So.
Sure, yeah. I was going to say the other cool feature of that Manifold has that's kind of unique to us is we have this concept of a free response market where you can ask an open-ended qualitative question and then users submit their own answers, and then people bet on which answer they think you, the market creator, is likely to choose. And basically what that enables is like a crowdsourcing of research. Like you can use it like for one very silly example would be like, which book will I read next? Then your friends will come and submit answers on different books. And then people will bid up books that they think you're likely to want to read based on your personality and your previous history and stuff like that. But you can imagine more serious examples where people are using this to crowdsource, research topic, find interesting papers, etc.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you guys are doing well. You're growing. You've gotten, how many users does the website have? If that's not a trade secret.
All of our stats are publicly available at manifold.market/stats. So right now we have around 1,000 monthly active users.
Manifold.market/stats. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay, you have your users. You had a big bump around July 25th. Interesting. Okay, so is sort of the the openness is sort of the point. So I figure like you guys could have, if you wanted to, like an official Manifold Markets 2024 election one, right? You're not doing that. You're just that's one business model and one way to go about it. And you could say, well, our ambition is for the New York Times to cite the official Manifold Markets thing. You'd rather anyone can create a presidential market and then hopefully the best one will win. Is that sort of, have you ever thought about doing it one way or the other, like just having a core sort of official Manifold Market stuff on important questions, and then or just not doing that? What are the considerations there?
I think both things are valuable. I think so. There are some obvious questions like who will win the 2024 election. And our view kind of is that the market will coalesce around like one high quality market creator, and that will probably be the dominant place that people come to bet on. But our vision also is to capture the long tail of other markets and other questions, and really to have like all possible like good questions on our platform as well, besides just obvious stuff, like who will win the election.
We might also curate a few like related markets that are important, like about the U.S. presidential election, and put those in a group or a dashboard to share. And those might be created by Manifold itself. Still thinking about that.
Yeah. Is there any other way to make the mana, valuable, prestigious? How can we, like, I don't know.
Well,
I guess you guys probably thought about it more than me. I would love. I mean, I love the idea. I love the idea of creating a new currency along with making prediction markets important, right? And the feds are in your way because you can't just do money. So you're making your own thing, but like necessity can actually be good here. It's the mother of invention. I think it's interesting. There's some interesting things. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing we can do is just offer more prizes. So like the tournament that we're co-sponsoring with you has real cash prizes. Cash prizes are totally allowed and legal for this sort of play money platform. We could just host like more of them and have more prizes. So that would be another easy way to help ground the value of mana. The other thing would be to have something like a prize gallery where you can redeem your mana just like Chuck E. Cheese tokens for things that do have real monetary worth. I'm thinking of things like Manifold swag, a Manifold T-shirt, but potentially things like an Amazon gift card, which is not cash but is something that users would find valuable.
Wait, so you can? There's no legal obstacle to like just giving people Manifold, transferring mana into. There has to be a price. I mean, this is all probably a gray area, right? I probably shouldn't even ask. Probably shouldn't even get to on the record here. We shouldn't talk about the compensation thing. We don't want to end up like Predicted. Okay. So yeah, I think this is.
You can bet on whether regulatory action will be taken on Manifold on our site.
Yeah. What does it say right now?
I think we're pretty low, below 20%.
And in what time period?
I need to find a particular market.
Yeah.
18% before the end of 2024.
No, that's not.
So
great.
A lot of
that's
that.
Not very low.
Well, a lot of that is predicting. Well, that we should totally be legally in the clear now because we're wholly play money. So a lot of this is the market predicting that we would go into these alternate, more gray area paths, which we haven't necessarily decided to do.
So why isn't the market up? Why hasn't the market? Oh, so the market thinks you still might. The market, you haven't made any announcement that you're not going to do that, right?
Right. We're still figuring out what our strategy is regarding these things, and we certainly will take the market forecasts on all of these different variables into account.
I think when I talk to you guys, and I think that this is how I feel about the Salem thing. I think you're not afraid to have sort of a work in progress. So I think by the time this thing gets released, we're going to have updated the rules on the Salem Center prediction market. I think we saw that there's some things that are not ideal, but we think we can tweak them and potentially make it better. And you guys, you're still sort of open, and this is being an entrepreneur. I mean, I think this is something people don't get. Like you don't have to sort of know exactly where you're going to go every step of the way. What made you guys start to So you guys were computer scientists. You James, you worked at Google, right? Stephen, did you ever work like for a big corporation or anything?
I worked for SIG, which is an options trading firm, for a little bit. They actually,
Yeah.
I believe they're the largest trader, trader of equity options globally. Even though most people on Wall Street haven't heard of them.
Okay. And did they recruit you smart computer science guys out of Yale? Is that how you ended up with them?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And James, they recruited you out of Google, or out of Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. So what made you guys sort of transition to doing your own thing?
I guess I think, or like for me personally, I've just always wanted to be an entrepreneur and build something new and cool that lots of people use. And that really has been, in the back of my mind since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, I went to work at Google with the explicit intention of saving up money in order to just do startups. So, yeah, it was always something I wanted to do.
How'd you like Google? Was it a good experience?
Actually, it was. I loved it. It was kind of chill because basically, like, the vibe was like I'd like roll in at like 11 a.m. and like I would take like an hour for lunch and like get off at like 4 p.m. like play Super Smash Brothers. Like it was fun. Like and I was able to learn a bit about like standard practices for software, that sort of thing. Get up to speed. But I think after 2 years there, I was like ready to like go start something of my own. Yeah.
So they don't push you. They're fine with you working 4 hours a day and playing video games all the time.
I mean, yeah. I think it depends on where you are and like with your manager and stuff. But certainly, like if you're a decent coder, then you can keep up, with a few hours.
I see. So it's about getting the work done, and they don't care about like the sort of the show of putting in the long hours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think that I'm coming out of academia where I think I was sort of I became away with a pessimistic view of human nature because I think I was around the least entrepreneurial people you can imagine. I mean, I think it's just like the most obvious thing in the world. Like, oh, you go to school your whole life, you go to more school, and then more school, and then you get on the track to teach at school. And, I'm always, I'm sort of, I admire what you guys have done, and I think this can be very cool. So is there is there anything else you guys want to say before I let you go?
If you go to Manifold.Markets, you can get 1,000 mana to bet or create on any market that you care about. I encourage you to do so. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you can also.
Thanks for having us, Richard. Yeah, you should also try out the Salem Center CSPI tournament that Richard has.
Yes, I was
along with us.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to put all the links, and I was just about to say that too. SalemCenter.Manifold.Markets. We have a real, actual academic position that you can compete for, and there's also prizes, and you can come to a conference where, it's at least virtual, maybe in real person, where the Grugett brothers and some cool George Mason economists like Hansen and Brian Kaplan and maybe some other people will be there. So yes, we'll put all the links there. We'll put the links to Manifold Markets, and thanks for coming on, guys. It was great talking to you.
Awesome.
All right, thanks so much.